I kinda like Payday 2. It's a game so nice I bought it twice. Once on the PC on sale for $15 for both the game and all of its DLC, mind you, and $60 on the Switch. Suffice to say, Payday 2 on the Switch is a mixed bag for me even a year after its port on the Switch. You are watching Friendly Fella Jed. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Let's get right into the video. Heads up, most of the footage you'll see here is from the PC version of the game of Payday 2. I am not paying for a capture card. You probably already know what the Payday 2 games are. They are games where you take control of a group of robbers and go on these epic heists. The heists themselves are varied. One mission you'll be robbing a bank, the next you might be robbing a jewelry store, perhaps you'll be transporting safes or robbing a casino. These heists can be played stealthily, or you can just say frick it and go loud. I particularly like Payday 2 because it's a simple, repetitive game I can easily pick up and play with little to no learning. Yes, leave your autism jokes in the comments. I'm sure I will find them very funny. Now, what I like about Payday 2 on the Switch is that it has the novelty of being portable. If there's a car ride coming up, hey, why not make yourself a little richer? It's very easy to jump in and out of the single player heists. Although I don't recommend you play the bigger missions on the go, unless you have a portable charger. I've played Big Bank, one of the bigger heists in the game, for an hour, and if I remember correctly, it dropped my battery by like 60%. Obviously, in Payday 2, there are a lot of missions, like 50 of them, and they are all varied, and you can go about them in many different ways, stealthily or loudly. The great thing about the heists is that they're somewhat randomly generated. Doors will sometimes be in different places, civilians might take different positions, the places where you're supposed to drop your bags and loot change. It ensures that the heists themselves can always play out a little differently each time, creating a different experience. The game does a good job of tailoring itself to your playstyle. It gives you the freedom to play the game the way you want to play it. There are a lot of builds you can try out on the game, thanks to the various weapons, perks, and skill points you can allocate to your character. You can play as a tank and dish out suppressing fire and take the hits for your team. There's the notorious dodge builds, which allow you to negate enemy damage completely, and stealth builds, which help you traverse the map unseen. These three builds only scratch the surface of what can actually be done in Payday. Chances are you can create a build which results in a satisfying gameplay experience because it suits your playstyle. Furthermore, the enemies you encounter are fun to take care of too. As many of us know, Payday 2 is a wave shooter where enemies keep coming at you until the mission is over. It's not too repetitive though, because there are special enemies that help break up the monotony every so often, like shields, tasers, the bulldozer, a heavily armored operator, the medic, which heals your enemies, and the cloaker, which kills you by kicking you. Yeah. Graphically speaking, the game is alright. I mean, Payday 2 never really was a looker, civilians always looked ugly, the props were always kind of but it gets the job done, especially on the Switch. The game's frame rate is serviceable too. It runs at 30 frames per second, and while it does drop at some points, it's for the most part alright, it does the job. So I think that's all I like about the game. So what don't I like? Well, coming to this game after having played the PC version, the Switch version is behind in terms of updates and missions. For example, on the PC version, you can give bags to your AI counterparts and they'll help you carry them. In the Switch version, that's not possible. You have to manually take each and every single bag to the drop-off point, which is not only tedious, but it means that the police can steal them at any time if you aren't careful. While the game does have a lot of content, some of the missions you'd find on the PC aren't on the Switch. Missions like Go Bank and Safe House are some examples. That's a huge bummer. While people will be quick to point out there are like 50 missions on the Switch, and that's more than enough, they all boil down to doing the same things in each and every map. If you stealth, you'll be going from location to location until you can unlock whatever's in a vault, take it, and leave. If you're playing loud, it's just a matter of fending off cops until you open a vault, loot it, and leave. The repetitiveness isn't something that bothers me, but it's just a bummer that we don't have more maps to at least negate it. Add some more flavor to the game, you know? Furthermore, while the game does have a wide array of weapons, it lacks the variety of the PC version. Now, maybe I'm just being picky, seeing as how the full Payday 2 experience with all of its DLC and whatnot has a lot of weapons, but nevertheless, I'm gonna complain about it anyways. The sad thing is, even if the missing content is ported to the Switch, we'll probably end up paying more for it as DLC, as if $60 for the base game wasn't enough. Whether or not the Switch will ever be brought up to date or even receive the DLC, we don't even know. Overkill has just been leaving us in the dark for a long friggin' time. I usually play my Switch on handheld mode, but I like using my Pro controller to play on it. The only problem is, for whatever reason, Payday 2 only works with the controller when the Switch itself is docked, which stinks. The AI is a bit of a mixed bag as well. Sometimes they'll run across the field of battle, taking bullets like an absolute tank, just to revive me. Other times they'll be right next to me and completely safe, but they'll neglect to revive me anyways. The AI is serviceable, but I do wish it was a little better. Online is awful. Payday 2 is a game that requires coordination, especially when you're playing on the higher difficulties. But as we all know, for whatever reason, the Switch lacks native voice chat. Obviously, this is more of a problem with the Nintendo Switch and not necessarily the game itself, and I know you could get a Discord or something, but it's worth mentioning. Overall, however, Payday 2 on the Switch is a somewhat solid game. Despite having less content and being less updated when it comes to PC versions, as well as having practically no way to communicate during online play, Payday 2 is, regardless, a pretty fine game. There's a lot to do in it, a lot to see, and a lot to master. You can sink hundreds of hours into the Switch version just like you can on the PC. There's something here for everyone, whether you like torturing yourself with trying to stealth the same map over and over again, or you're just looking for a simple repetitive wave shooter, that's there too. Overall, if I had to give this game a rating, it would get a solid 7 out of 10. That being said, do I recommend the Switch version to everyone? No. If you really like Payday 2, and you think the novelty of taking the game anywhere you go sounds appealing, I'd say buy it. If you really want Payday 2, and I mean really want to play it, but the only way you can realistically get it is on the Switch, go for it. If neither of these two things seems to suit you, I'd advise staying away from the Switch version. It's $60 for this game. That's a lot, especially for a game that is 6 years old. If you can get it on the PC, definitely get it on the PC. If you can get it on an Xbox or a PS4, definitely get it on an Xbox or a PS4. Payday 2 on the Switch it's a novelty really. Friendly fella Jed, out.